Welcome to Rap in Order, the interrogation of a hip-hop album, where we take some of the culture's most beloved hip-hop albums, put them on the stand, see if they stood the test of time. Now let's see who we got on the stand today.
These are their stories.
And welcome back to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Regg.
I'm Taurian B.
Today, we're getting into the third studio album from J-Rock. You know him as a member of the TDE family. This one was released, obviously, like I just said, Top Dog Entertainment and Interscope. Came out in 2018. It was one of my personal favorites from 2018. You had some production on here from Mike Will. You had Boy Wonder, Soundwave, Hit Boy. You had some features, really good features from J. Cole, Jeremiah, Mozzie, T Grizzly, Future, Kendrick, of course. The album was actually led by the single King's Dead, which was also on the Black Panther soundtrack that TDE executive produced. And yeah, this album has some really well-rounded moments. I think that J-Rock really gets overlooked when it comes to TDE because, you know, you have such a powerhouse like Kendrick, and then you have SZA. You have some star-studded people on TDE, but I think, and even Ab Soul comes up a lot before J-Rock does, and Schoolboy. Right. But I don't think J-Rock has put out a disappointing album yet. This was really well-rounded. He really got a chance to really showcase his skills as far as, you know, the potential to be commercial, but also hold his own and stay true to his roots. What do you think of this album?
I think this album was incredible. I was a huge fan of the album previous to this one, 90059.
Yeah.
And I think I wrote
You did a review.
Yeah, I did a review for that one. So when this project came out, like I expected more like South Central based, like sounding topics and stuff like that, and we still got that, but like they went for it, and like we got the big sound, and we got like the So remember they had the tour?
Yeah. So
they had the tour, and like I was supposed to go to the tour, but I missed it. But I've like watched videos on YouTube. And I just want to give you guys like the setting. Like the whole setting of it was like a high school pep rally. So like when he would come out and close the show and perform Win, and like Kendrick will come out as his hype man, it was kind of like, I felt like this album was a lot of like, because Kendrick was very, very instrumental in this album. It was kind of like Kendrick returning the favor because J-Rock took Kendrick and them on tour and everything like that.
Yeah.
And like Kendrick came in, and I think that it helped him like a lot tremendously, like to like cross over commercial, because like those two big songs that he had were cross over. The Kings did and Win were basically on commercials. I want to say like
NBA.
they had NBA promo. It was a NFL commercial, Super Bowl commercial. And I just think it just put J-Rock on the map. And I think the only thing that slowed him down was that motorcycle accident that he had.
Yeah, the motorcycle accident was actually before this album. It was maybe 2 years before this album.
Really?
Yeah, 2016 was the accident, and then 2018. So that was the whole idea behind the album being called Redemption, because he even talks about it on the title track with SZA about
I don't know why I thought the motorcycle accident was after this project, but okay.
Yeah, it was before, and like this is around the time when people were really looking for J-Rock, like, yo, like what's going on? And then he had his accident in 2016. It slowed, understandably so, like everything down. But on the title track with SZA, he kind of gets into it a little bit, where he talks about like literally feeling like he's seeing the light because he's about to die, and like the surgeons coming in, and he had all this internal bleeding, and like it was a really, really bad accident, and he survived it, you know.
Yeah, I listened to this album wrong for years. I swear to God, like like I really thought, like I was like, wow, man, this is a lot of foreshadowing.
Oh, that is... Yeah, nah, bro, yeah, because his accident was a year after his debut, because that debut, 90059, came out in 2015, and then his accident was in 2016. Yeah. Yeah. So his career was kind of on a standstill, and then he came out with this, and I've always been a J Rock fan because J Rock gives me like Meek Mill, grown Meek Mill energy, like where it's like super charged up, but the lyrics, like I feel like Meek tries to get you there with just his voice, and the lyrics will come second because he knows people are gonna be amped up. I don't feel like J Rock misses a beat. Like he'll give you the voice and he'll give you the quality in his lyrics.
Right.
So I think he's really dope in that sense. And then even just the fact that he was the one that was supposed to be spearheading TDE. He was supposed to be the flagship artist for TDE.
He was the first one that got the deal.
Yeah.
They went through all the bumps and bruises. Like, he's the first child, essentially. Like, they went through all the mistakes and bumps and bruises with him, and they learned the music industry because of the relationships they had. Like, I remember, because I think him and Tyrese is from the same neighborhood.
Okay.
So
Watts.
he was from Watts. So he was on Tyrese's album early. And like I was like, yo, I like this J Rock dude. That's how I learnned about J Rock, was through Tyrese. My man Black Tie. Shout out.
Black Tie.
You know what I'm saying? Fast Family, So yeah, like I learned who he was, and then like I was just like, all right, cool. Like I'm a fan of J Rock. Like I like this dude. He's come out the West Coast. And it seemed like he was like like he gave me the same energy that Game gave me. He just didn't talk a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and I like that. I was like, yo, Game didn't like do all this extra shit. Like, I actually probably would be a bigger fan of Game.
Yeah, because I mean, the knock on Game is more so his personality and not his music.
Right.
People usually really like his albums.
Yeah.
So I guess I see what you mean.
Like, yeah, J Rock like gives you a perspective. Like everybody, I think, because like we're like East Coast, Midwest guys, right? When we listen to rappers from the West Coast, like California just seems like some like faraway place. They have palm trees, like you know what I'm saying, it really rains and shit like that. And like they're like telling their stories that are happening like in the hood, in the ghetto. And like their projects are completely different from the projects that we're used to. So when you hear someone telling like the stories of like what it's like in their neighborhood and like the trials and tribulations that they go through, like it's kind of like hard because it's like you think like LA is paradise. So like, but like they like when they're able to like cut through and like make you like feel like you right there, like I think like that really like tells like the story. It's like, okay, this is like when I like to when I listen to West Coast rappers, I like to always think that John Singleton is directing their visual and like they're just telling that like they wrote it.
Yeah.
So it's like through their lens. So it's like I'm watching like a Snowfall or Boys in the Hood or even fucking Baby Boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, oh, okay. Or Poetic Justice. Like, I'm getting this version from these guys, like, updated. So with this album, when I listen to 90059 and I listen to Redemption, that's what I like to do when I close my eyes and I listen to J Rock rap.
Yeah.
He gives me that perspective. I know Good Kid, Mad City was supposed to give you that perspective, but maybe because J Rock's coming from an older perspective, I understand a little bit better.
Yeah, I get that. And Kendrick's album was obviously, it was more polished in a way that it was a front to back story. And this is stories over the length of a still very cohesive album. So it still works either way. What are your takeaways from, like we said, we did mention that he has some big features on here. So he has his song with J. Cole, which I kind of sometimes I forget. It's such a great treat on the album because I don't think J. Cole and I think J. Rock, and this worked really well for me.
Yeah, I think like J. Cole having that strong relationship with them, like being around and stuff like that in the studio, I think is something that like really makes it easier. And like J. Cole is like a rapper's rapper.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think J. Cole can kind of build a relationship with anybody when he raps. He's just getting better and better, man. It's crazy.
I agree. And I listen to East Side Tales a lot because East Side Tales kind of gives me like it's kind of reminiscent of a lot of early Ice Cube.
Okay.
So like he would like kind of like do the same thing, like basically just telling you a story of a kid in the ghetto growing up and like something happening, and I mean I'm like damn, like. Like they're using like the video game noises on the sample and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh shit, like this is definitely giving like Ice Cube inspired kind of like Boys in the Hood lyrics. Yeah. So it was kind of dope.
The project also has like some foreshadowing to Baby Keem's as an artist because Keem got production credits on here. He actually produced Rotation, and he produced Knock It Off, which is the third track.
Right.
So this was before people really leaned
Keem.
into people really leaned into to Keem as an artist. I think Keem is how Kendrick stays tapped in, because he talks about how he doesn't have a phone and stuff like that. Keem is young, so he's out here. He has to be out here. But yeah, I think also some other highlights on here. Tap Out with Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Jeremiah can always give you one.
Yeah, he's
always give you one.
It's just and it's funny because for a while BJ the Chicago kid was like the resident R&B hook guy for TDE. And then out of nowhere, they started working with Jeremiah more. Like it's like it was like Anderson, and I know Schoolboy Q was the one that was kind of like bringing them in the fold a lot more. But it was like Anderson .Paak got like a lot of love. BJ Chicago kid, and now it's like Jeremiah. Like they kind of like going through like their rounds of like who they like working with in their rotations.
Yeah. So there's some, and even getting to his storytelling on this, like the Bloodiest, kicking this album off the way that kicked off.
Bitch, where?
Yeah. The Bloodiest was produced by Boy Wonder and Jake One. What an amazing combo, because those drums are insane. And I know that's probably Boy Wonder on that, no doubt about that. And For What It's Worth, and man, there's just so many highlights on this. How do you rank this as far as TDE albums? Do you think, and do you from like worst
excluding Kendrick, or
we gotta exclude Kendrick.
All right, so we exclude Kendrick, right? I put this album. Well, for me, Habits and Contradictions, excluding Kendrick, is the best TDE album.
Okay.
By Schoolboy. To me, without a shadow of a doubt, right? I don't with Absol, his projects, I think a lot of his early mixtapes, what is it? Something Mentality.
Oh, and then Control System.
Yeah, Control System, right? So you got Control System. I think that would be second. So I could argue that Redemption would lie in the top 5.
Okay.
Because I think 90059 is still like superior.
His best one.
Yeah, I think I really fuck with 90059. So this album though I'll say that this album probably, to me personally, commercially, did besides Kendrick did more. Like I was more in my face, and organically. It wasn't it wasn't like a machine behind it. It was like these records were like ringing off, and it just because it had the team aspect, it just made sense to go hand in hand with sports.
Yeah, I think and that's very well put. I think this album has the perfect balance of what I like in rap albums, where I do want to see the artists overextend themselves and go a little further, try to get that commercial appeal, but also still bring them in just to their world, right? And without selling out. And I think that's what this album did, and that's why I like it so much, because J-Rock didn't have to compromise his sound or the way that he is. The most he stepped out of bounds was the song with Jeremiah, and it's a good song because it has this element to it that can cross over, but then not really, because Jeremiah isn't necessarily a crossover artist. He's not, but he'll give you that sound.
Yeah,
he'll give you that sound that you're looking for, but he's not gonna cross over. The most he did was lean on his relationship with Kendrick. Wild Freestyle.
The Wild Freestyle was great, and I think that the only thing that I wish is that we had all of Black Hippie on the album. I think as fans we should get a Black Hippie posse cut on each one of their solo albums.
I think so too.
I think we deserve that much. We know we're not going to get the Black Hippie album.
It's gone.
But I think that every solo album that you men put out, we should get a Black Hippie fucking posse cut from you gentlemen. Yeah,
I think it's only right. And I don't know how the relationship is today. They seem like they still fuck with each other individually. I don't know why they're so reluctant to do it. I think one of them flat out said, no, we're never going to get a Black Hippie project.
Schoolboy Q.
Yeah. He was like, nah, we're never going to get that. And I mean, it's okay. I guess.
I think I think as time goes on, like they have different obligations now, and like they have the ability to say no to a lot of shit. At one point, they all lived in Top Dog's house, so it was like they ate together, they did everything together. You know, they went to sleep at the same time, woke up at the same time, and I think now like they're all grown men and like they're making their own money and they know like what they bring to the table. So they're like, nah, like you know what I'm saying, I gotta take care of my people and do this and that. But I definitely do think that probably of all of them, I would say that like J Rock is probably the closest to Top and Punch.
Yeah.
Because like I know like they're like all from the same neighborhood and shit. So, you know, I just think it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, I feel like they can, you know, wrangle and get everything that they need out of him for the project and get shit done. It's not that hard.
Agreed. Yeah. I think he is I do just want to see this second leg of TDE. I want to see what else they have brewing because, you know, they just lost their biggest artist. Kendrick is doing his own thing with PG Lang.
Right.
So I want to see who steps up to, well, I guess SZA's the flagship artist now.
Yeah, well, yeah. SZA, excluding rap, if we just saying overall artists, that SZA is like the main attention. I think Absol is trying to, I think Absol understands now that he has like the weight on his shoulders because, and I don't even think it's like a bad weight, but like he wants to like carry the flag now for being a top rapper out of TDE because now he's like, I can get all the attention now. Like you know, before it was everything was put in Kendrick ain't here no more. Now what we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta keep going. Even like with signing new artists, like you still want to be able to show them like, hey, like we have Absol here, one of the best lyricists that you can think of, and we have SZA, like, you know what I'm saying, one of the best songstresses ever, you know, like today. So I think that's a good selling point. I think record labels now are looked at like, you know, like sports franchises. And it's like, why would I want to sign with this label? Like what, you know, what is a glimmering point? Like your star, your Michael Jackson just left. So yeah, I think that means something. And I think J-Rock being a cornerstone of the label also matters.
Yeah, I think so too. And J-Rock even giving us a prelude to his greatness. Everybody remembers his Money Trees verse. So you know, for whatever reason, I think Money Trees, his feature on Money Trees, was supposed to put more eyes on J-Rock. And I think it kind of didn't at that time. I don't think people associated him with that verse.
I see it as twofold. Like people obviously because Kendrick blacked on Money Trees, but like I think that J-Rock's verse on Money Trees was hailed, but it's just that he didn't out rap Kendrick.
You don't think he did? I thought he did.
I don't think so. I think people talked about Kendrick's verse more than they did about J-Rock's verse. J-Rock's verse, all right, I agree with you. J-Rock's verse was incredible. So I'm not saying that, but I don't think that people think that. I think that people were so enamored with Kendrick at that time that they didn't even like. It was overlooked.
I think that's what it was. People were just enamored with Kendrick at the time that they overlooked
how great his verse was. So I'm not. Yeah, I agree with you that J-Rock out rapped him, but a lot of people didn't think that. Like that's never been the conversation or the debate, and that's rare. Like usually, like remember like when Beanie Siegel would out rap Jay.
Yeah.
People, at one point, people were arguing like, "Yo, here we go again." Like you know what I'm saying? Like once again, it's on. I mean, like they were like, "Yo, like he got Jay." Like they always would say that, and I think the dynamic with him and J-Rock is just that like people just wouldn't give J-Rock his flowers when it came to those times.
Yeah, and is there any moment on this album that's a dip off for you?
Troopers, and that's right after the King's dead. So like that, Broke Plus Minus. I think that's how you say the song. That one kind of like so. Tracks 9 and 10 were kind of down points for me, and then it picks back up because of Wild Freestyle.
Yeah.
Right. Out of Sight, Out of Mind, I like because obviously I'm like, oh shit, like J. Cole, like that, like kind of like was my thing right there. But it was mainly just like Troopers and Broke Plus Minus is what kind of like was a dip, and then like you know the Wild Freestyle kind of picked it back up. And then I'll be honest, like, and this makes it even funnier, and I think like this also is why like I didn't realize like oh shit the accident happened before this. The title track.
You didn't like it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so I think with you knowing about the accident and everything
Now
now,
I gotta re-listen to it. Like
when you
all
listen
these
to
years,
it,
I was listening to it like,
yeah,
damn, like this nigga's sad. Why is
yeah,
nigga talking like this?
yeah,
Like, yeah, but like I didn't take that into account, and I think that's why I didn't hit.
yeah. When you listen to it now, I think it's gonna be a little different.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I can admit that, but I'm just keeping it a stack with you. I had no thought process. Like, I don't know why. Because it's like, they didn't reveal that J-Rock had that accident until after this project. It wasn't before this project.
I think they used that to kind of fuel putting the album out. But nah, they talked about it. It's just that J Rock isn't a like big artist, so it wasn't everywhere.
Yeah,
But they
you're
talked
right.
about
I'm like,
yeah.
like, I remember like hearing about it afterwards. And like, even like for this album, because I know this album, I didn't feel like to deep dive and do the research.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just like, damn, T, like, you know, like you did bad because like you didn't even think to do it, because I'm just like, yeah, I know he had the accident. He had the accident. You know, it happened after this, whatever like that. That's why we haven't got another project yet. But no, this happened before this project. I didn't even realize it because like he did interviews, but like like his interviews aren't memorable. So it's nothing that you like reference back to or remember.
He's
like
very much to himself.
Like we know he did Big Boy. Like I don't even gotta search it, and I know he did the Big Boy interview. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's one of those things. I don't think did they come. I don't think they came to New York and did nothing, but they might have. I know he didn't do Breakfast Club though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he did Breakfast Club. We'll probably have to look that up.
Okay.
But I think overall, probably broke. Yeah, number 10, the broke plus minus joint. I'm not really that big of a fan of it if I had to nitpick, but that would probably be the only song that I don't really like that much, which says a lot for a 15-track album. And it's a really great closer. He got a song with
the other side
with Mozzie and December. It's produced by Cardo. You hear them fucking cowbells.
Here we go.
You know it's Cardo.
Here we go.
That's a great one. And I think it just overall, he kind of left me wanting more, to be honest. And I'm still waiting for his follow up to this. I think he's been more on social media. So I think something is coming soon.
Yeah, I think so. I think probably end of this year, end of 2023, we'll hear from J Rock. We'll at least get a single.
And do you think about him when you think about these West Coast artists?
No,
he doesn't come to mind.
Unfortunately, I don't. And that, I think that's because like he kind of like stays in his TDE bubble. Like even with Absol, like, you know, he battle raps like with Daylight, even though Daylight is kind of like TDE family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, and Absol is known for like freestyle and battle rapping with other people, but like it feels like J Rock is like in some kind of like bubble, so I don't even compare him with other artists. Like you'll never like go to another record and hear J Rock.
Yeah.
Like Schoolboy Q, like he made like a ridiculous amount of friends.
Yeah.
And Kendrick is just in that on that Mount Rushmore where you're going to compare him to his other peers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But J Rock is like he's like the good soldier, and he's in that bubble.
Yeah. I think in a sense, and that's kind of how Absol was, right? Because he's realizing it now that he wants to step into stardom. When he had an interview where he was like, "Yo, I just realized that I want to be a star now."
Yeah.
And you know, niggas is joking like, "Yeah, it's probably too late," but you know, he has his name. He's been out for a minute. He has the legacy of TDE. His newest album, people were saying, is his best album. You know?
People are saying like, I think the thing that sucks is his album came out at the end of the year. So when people talk about albums at the end of 2023, that it's going to be forgotten because it came out so late, but then it's still so early. Like it's something that people going to have to like remind people about when they talk about it.
Yeah, I think so too. And that sucks. That's the thing about fourth quarter drops.
Yeah.
But with the J Rock album, you wanna give your rating?
For this album, I give it a 3.5 out of 5 waffles. I give it 3.5 out of 5 waffles because it's a great listen. Like I can get through the entire album. I have those 2 tracks where it kind of dipped off for me. Obviously, like he kind of like gets personal and everything like that. But like the album, it doesn't stand out to me. Like it stands out to me because of the 2 major 3 singles, or 3 songs. Because 2 are singles, 1 is a song. So the Wild Freestyle,
King's Dead.
King's Dead and Win.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like when I think about this album, but I don't think about the album like I do 90059.
Okay. And 90059 I do need to revisit because I was so enamored with this album when it came out. It just came out at a time, and for 2018, it was one of my favorite albums. I give this a 4.5 out of 5.
Woo!
I really, really enjoy this album. I think J-Rock has stayed true to his sound, like I said, and I want to see where else he goes. And I like when he collabs with other people. Like around this time frame too, Juicy J had him on his album. The Hustle Continues, I think it was called.
I never listened to that album, so obviously I wouldn't know.
That was a good album. I listen to everything Juicy J comes out with. That nigga dropped the album recently with Lex Luger. I was like, what the fuck? I listened to it though. But no, I encourage everybody to get into this album. I think it's a great solid representation of TDE as a label and as their MCs. Like he's one of their greats as far as like in line of rappers. I don't think they have any weak links anyway, but I think this really helps uphold their name for having superior MCs. Check it out. Let us know what you think. I'm First Class Regg.
And I'm Taurian B.
And we out of here.
Catch you guys next time.
Dun dun.